All right, this is Maryland with Maryland every day. I'd like to say good morning. It's 5:51 a.m. and this is my first podcast. Basically, what I'm gonna do with the podcast or whatever, sum it up, is I'm not necessarily gonna work on a topic because I don't want to go in where it's like have to be planned and all that type of stuff, and I gotta stay on subject. I just want to, basically tell my audience, my listeners, how I feel or whatever. They can call it PSA or whatever, however it goes. But just testing it out, hearing how it sounds. Alexa's on the TV talking about play a podcast. It's crazy. But well, first thing is appreciate everybody listening to the album, man. Both the albums that I made them in a short time. I guess energy was out there to be able to create the way I was able to do it. Oh, for a second. Okay, I'm back. In the background, that's me doing a straightening freestyle or whatever. I don't have a lot of time to write sometimes, so I just mess around with the editing and things like that. So I might spit a little verse or something like that, then leave it alone. Then they'll come back when I get another idea, and depending on how long the beat is, how long I keep throwing out ideas and things like that. Shout out to Harry Mack too, because dude is a genius when he does that, and he does it like improvisational, no edits, no cuts. He just goes right through it and stuff like that. So I was basically inspired by that and things like that when he does it that type of way. The dude is nuts. Check him out on YouTube or whatever. Check out his page. But yeah, the Maryland Everyday album. It was definitely the energy was basically for my mother and things like that because she was sick with COVID-19 and in the hospital. And I was just working, and the family's working and everything, and basically everything had to just go to a halt to make sure that she was good and make sure the family was good and stuff like that. So yeah, so I mean, did all I basically could and things like that, but the energy was still high, so I just was like, man, let me go to the band lab, to the mix editor, to the studio, whatever, and get this emotion and energy out and stuff like that. And came out to be pretty good and things like that. When you listen to it, but we'll go over the track list one of these days. Like I just say, just a little run through of what I'm gonna try to bring to y'all. As much as possible, but this might be my only podcast. Who knows? It all depends. I just want to talk and get things off my chest, man. You know what I mean? So that's just how I am. Cause sometimes I can just sit in the car and have a whole podcast by myself. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoy that freestyle. It's always on the Band Lab or whatever. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. I'm trying to get on other outlets. I'm on SoundCloud as well. I don't have a lot of music on SoundCloud because I don't really use a computer. I don't really use a computer, you guys. I do this all through my phone, man. You know what I mean? It's just I be on the go. I'm mobile. I'm always, spontaneous and just out there. I'm not really a sit down person. Just sit down and just vibe and things like that. So it's kind of crazy how I do things and stuff like that. But yeah, you know. But I definitely, like I said, appreciate anybody that listen to that album and stuff like that. Check out that collection, man. It's nuts because I see people when they do collections, and when they do collections, it's usually other people's music on their collection. So me, I wanted to take it into a different direction because I do have other people's music on my collection. I dedicate some things to people and things like that, like R.I.P. Beezy the Butcher and stuff like that. I dedicated a whole collection to him because, that's we came up on a booth, we came up in a booth and stuff like that. So that dude was a really good guy. And, he always reached out and helped me out with collabs, especially when my sound quality wasn't really that good. So when he left, I was definitely heartbroken. And I didn't know because I left the BandLab app for a long time, and just working and stuff like that. And, by the time you know it, boom, somebody's gone that was close to you. So, definitely, praying for him and his family and stuff like that to get better. We don't even know what happened. I asked people, I asked other, app rappers and stuff like that what happened. They never told me. And I'm not really on Instagram anyway, so I never really, had that type of audience or, community with that. My band lab always been my community, so that's just how it is. But yeah, but basically through my collection is basically me featured with other rappers, booth rappers, band lab rappers, wherever we actually collaborated on. That's basically how I created my collection, and I always wanted to do that. I always wanted. I mean, honestly, I wanted to make all of them individual tracks to make it into albums and mixtapes and stuff. But then I just did so much work that, the BandLab track list basically has 50 tracks. So I usually get 40 to 50 tracks on there. So it's like, man, I really did that much work. And it's easier to count your tracks when you do it that way too. People don't know that, but maybe they do. But my my album basically about 9 tracks or something like that. And basically things that basically stood out. I wasn't really, I mean, the thought process to how I did that album is the craziest thing. Both those albums. The first album was basically I went to Shooter the Rapper's page and I just uploaded like 10 beats. Just uploaded them. I didn't even listen to them. I gave him his props and all that stuff, and I never really knew what the beats were, and I didn't know where the vibe was gonna go. And so when I did it, the way that I did it, I just had some time off, of course, because I was on quarantine. So I just sat in front of the TV and just wrote. However I was feeling, if I was watching a movie or something like that, I probably incorporated the movie into how I was feeling, and that's how you got Black versus Blue and Never Die Alone, R.I.P. to DMX. Um, yeah, so basically that's how I did it. And I mean, I just wrote, just keep writing, just kept writing, just kept writing. I didn't stop. The energy was so high, I couldn't stop writing. And so I was basically like, yo, this the quality of how I'm writing and what I'm writing about. I'm reading the content and stuff like that. I'm like, I should make this an album. I should make this an album. I call it Maryland Every Day, Maryland Every Day. I mean, 'cause that's my name anyway, Young Maryland, Maryland Every Day, from PG County, Bowie, Maryland, wherever you know the area and stuff like that. DMV, DC, uh, Virginia, DMV, that's DMV. But yeah. So when I put it together, I mean, awesome, awesome tracks. Rilo Rodriguez, NLE Chopper, like just the beats are just freaking off the chain. And I was like, yo, this got to be an album. Like the way, I mean, that's what I knew when I was recording it. Because I'm recording it and I'm hearing the beats. So now I'm like, oh, this got to be an album. I can't just make this just keep dropping tracks. And I put a lot of energy and motivation into encouraging my team to do the same thing. Most people just want to drop tracks, just drop tracks. And I'm like, I already did that. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to do something, that can create some longevity or something like that. Like even if I leave this app, somebody will see my collection and be like, oh, this dude really worked his ass off. Like, let me check him out and stuff like that. Other than just having stuff on a profile, just profile. And people get tired of scrolling anyway. But yeah, so the Maryland Every Day, I mean, basically self-explanatory, and that's basically how I feel every day. Of course, it was called Me, also acronym Maryland Every Day, Me, and so I thought it felt really good to create it that way and stuff like that. And yeah, so man, the tracks are off the chain, like I already said. Uh, a lot of different patterns I'm working with. Sometimes I just freestyle. Sometimes I incorporate both. and things like that, catch a little pattern and things like that. Basically telling people how I feel about music and the culture today and stuff like that, and basically society and the culture today, the system and all that other type of stuff. So when I got into that, just the content on it was just like wow, like I said, Black versus Blue. That was a really really good track, and I wouldn't have known the beat would have been that way. I mean, All Right is definitely a commercial driven track. It's definitely commercial driven. When you hear it, I'm rapping a lot of real stuff, but it's on a very commercial beat. You know what I mean? I'm doing a lot of commercial melodies. It does definitely sound like it could be on a radio or something like that. But I'm talking some real stuff. I think I talked about getting into a fight and some other type of stuff, and it's crazy the way I did it because I'm basically incorporating everything I'm going to rap about on the album on just All Right as an introduction. The intro's crazy too, basically talking about, situation with my mom and how she uh, has to do rehab and all this type of stuff. Right now she's doing great. She's talking, she's responsive. She's telling me to keep eating my vegetables and stay healthy, my vitamins, work out, you know what I'm saying? Keep pushing, you know, take my vaccinations. She's gonna get hers and stuff like that. So, I'm just, nodding and saying, yeah, mom, you got it, You know, she walking. She didn't have to take rehab to walk, so that was crazy when I saw that. So I was like, okay. She's just like, man, I just gotta build my strength back up. So I'm like, you do that, Always watching HGTV, TLC, and stuff like that. So me, I went back to work. Dad probably be headed back to work very soon and stuff right now. He's making sure his wife is good. So that's a beautiful thing, you know. Um, yeah, but I didn't really want to talk that long. I probably wanted to do at least 5 minutes, maybe until the beat ran out. But I definitely had a lot on my mind, and I'm gonna build this up through my content to be able to make my music the same type of way, and maybe my content will get a lot sharper and a lot better. Writer's block won't be happening so much when I'm getting back into my music form and stuff like that. Cause man, my writer's block has been crazy, like literally freestyling, like didn't write a word and stuff like that. And sometimes I even write my sentences in freestyle form. Like, I'm just gonna say this one word and then get off the track. Like, and just see the build up and how it creates, whatever it creates. Sometimes I'm on the beat, sometimes I'm off the beat. It doesn't really matter to me because I'm an old school rapper. And the thing about being an old school rapper is I basically all I really care about is lyrics. Patterns are cool and all that type of stuff. And you trying to get into the radio, efforts and all that type of stuff. But really, if you're a lyricist, then I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna put work into your music, and I'm gonna always tune in. The thing about liking your tracks, let's get to that liking thing, because I could like 20 of your tracks, and you think I'm only listening to just one. But when I have time, I'm sitting in the car taking a break. I'm liking all of y'all music, and I'm listening to all of y'all music, your albums, your collections, everything. And basically, with your collections, I'm only listening to your collection. If it's you on it, I'm listening to your collection. But if it's somebody else's music on your collection, I'm like, yeah, I can just literally go listen to that artist. So I'm like, nah, unless it's a feature, then it's different. You know what I mean? That's even better. But I want to hear basically, that artist, and basically that artist is that, came out of their way and listened to me and got into my music the same way I'm going to get into your music. You know what I mean? It's definitely reciprocation, of energy out there and stuff like that. But yeah, man, this is crazy. I mean, it feels good to actually do this because I want to do so much, man. I want to talk about my top five. I wanted to talk about some new shoes. I want to get into. It was just so many things I wanted to do, but right now I'm just like basically trying to iron out the kinks and stuff like that and get a feel for this podcast vibe, because I definitely wanted to do a Maryland Everyday podcast, and I didn't know how it was going to work out and how it was going to come out. And am I really the cat with the gift of gab and all this type of stuff? Like,